What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to Monday night's late night agenda, where, as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Loads for us to get through today on what's been a very busy day for me in the background. We obviously caught up with David Lynch earlier on. I hope you guys had a chance to check that one out. If you haven't, I think there's lots of juicy bits of information hidden in there for you to chew on. I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest with you. We're going to be talking tonight about all the obvious stuff. What we can rule in, what we can rule out, what people are saying, what we believe, you know, the usual. So we'll go through it all. Keep me up to date with the Forest game as well, if you can. I know it's 2-0 to Forest as we speak, so thank you for the people that were already putting that in. So yeah, look, I have a load to get through tonight, but as always, it's your show, so you let me know what direction you want to go in, and we'll go from there. Right, let me start off with Morgan Gibbs-White, if I can, because I spoke with David and a couple of others around this. I didn't just rely on one source, so I have spoken to a few people, and I feel quite confident in saying that Liverpool are not interested in Morgan Gibbs-White. I think David made a very good point around the timing of all of this for him. It's around the time where he'd be looking for that contract renewal or a wages bump from Nottingham Forest, because his deal is into that kind of territory. So no real truth behind these ones. I'm sure, like everybody else, Liverpool have been impressed with Morgan Gibbs-White, but we don't really have a need for a player in that position, so it wasn't a link that really ever made sense to me. Right, what else are we going to go through? So, Stephen, all the questions of Craig, what do you think about anything, are done. Because the days of me answering about other Liverpool channels are over. I'll tell you the answer to all of it. I don't think anything about any of them, because I don't really pay any attention to other people. I'm busy, so I just take care of what I do myself. So, yeah, I'm not here to talk about other Liverpool YouTubers or content creators, and I don't like people trying to bait me in. And I'm not saying you are, mate, because I know you've been around a long time, but yeah, it's just never a good outcome when I start talking about other channels and whatnot. So we'll just stick to Anfield Agenda, if that's all right. So let's go. Which one do you want to start with, Salah or Virgil? Let me know which one of those two you'd like to kick off with, and we'll go from there. Because I've got more news on one than the other, which is why I'm asking you. So the one... Oh, we're getting a mixed one here. Mixed. Right. It's fitty. We're going to go with VVD, right? We're going to go with VVD. Sorry. Well done. Cheers to everyone for answering. We're going to go with VVD first, because I want to get the good news out of the way. Look, it looks... There's been a lot of reports. Let's start with that. A lot of mixed reporting today. And one report in particular is something I wanted to bring up and raise with you, because it's a good example of, well, nonsense, quite frankly. And it is around our captain. And I'm going to talk about transfer sector here for a minute before I get into what I know about the situation. So transfer sector posted 2 tweets within 9 minutes of each other, both, in my opinion, massively contradicting their own points. So the first breaking bit of news they said was Virgil van Dijk has been offered to Real Madrid for the summer, and Real Madrid rejected the offer of Virgil van Dijk. Now, this piece suggests that his agent is the one who offered him to Real Madrid. But let me just say one thing. There isn't a world that exists where Real Madrid wouldn't snap the agent's hand off for an opportunity to sign Virgil van Dijk. So this nonsense around him being offered to Madrid is absolute caca poo-poo of the highest order. Don't believe a goddamn word of it, because it's nonsense. But the second part from transfer sector that they posted a few minutes later is Van Dijk is close to renewing his contract with Liverpool. Now on this one, I'm getting some good vibes on. A lot of contradictory statements, and it's been spoken about by journalists as well. Some sources are telling journalists that Virgil's really close, right there. And others are saying it's a long way away. Just look at some of the reporting from Lewis Steele around this and you'll see what I mean. So my understanding is that it is most likely of all of them that he gets done soon. Now, again, the club are keeping the cards close to their chest. Our captain is definitely keeping his cards close to his chest. But I feel very confident that a lot of the optimism around the Virgil van Dijk stuff is not misplaced. So I don't know how much money he's going to be getting. I've tried to find that out and I don't know the answer to it. But I'm going to say this, I don't really care. Because whatever it is, I'm sure it's realistic and I'm sure he deserves it. That's kind of where I'm at. I know Virgil's not going to be asking for £500,000 a week or anything like that. So if he wants a bit of a rise and others are getting it, then give the captain his money. But I do think you can look forward to a Van Dijk renewal without much stress. That's where I'm at with that one. Now with Mohamed Salah, I don't know. Sorry for being short about that one, but I don't know. And what I mean by I don't know is, I don't know if there's been any breakthrough or any developments that have changed the situation. When you hear Mohamed Salah say things like, no offer has happened yet, some of that is semantics. Some of that is just a very choice use of words. Because you can be very focused on it and say the actual black and white contract hasn't gone across the table to me yet. But I'm sure that those negotiations with Rami Abbas are a long way into it. And we know that Rami Abbas is rocking up as well in Liverpool this week for extra conversations or extra negotiations. And there's one other aspect to all of this that I want to point out, because no doubt you will have seen it yourself. Over the past 48 hours, there really has been a concerted push from journalists, not only the ones that cover Liverpool, for other journalists to get Richard Hughes and FSG to get their finger out. Because everybody is confused at how on earth all of this is taking so long and how it's been dragged out. So I'm going to read you out something from Henry Winter, who I think is one of the best journalists of his generation and my generation. And he said, Liverpool still in control of the title race. Good players, good manager, good strength and depth. But they need to silence the growing noise around the three contracts, which should never have been allowed to rumble on so long. If Virgil van Dijk is close to getting it done, get him what he wants, get it announced, get the focus back to football. Mohamed Salah, if possible, get that signed, sealed and celebrated too. It would be an uplifting bit of news for the players, staff and supporters, a timely tonic. It would be financially beneficial to FSG to have great players staying on, taking Liverpool towards money-spinning trophies and even more commercial opportunities. Gold from silverware makes dollars and cents. And that's the part I want to focus on for a minute. Because Henry Winter is basically telling us what we all know, but it always holds more weight coming from a journalist. That success on the pitch with these boys makes the money. So it doesn't make any sense financially for FSG to be dicking about like they are. Or Richard Hughes, if indeed it's Richard Hughes that's dragging his heels on this. It needs to get done. He said, Van Dijk and Salah are playing well despite the headlines, but against Manchester United, Trent Alexander-Arnold looked affected by the noises. Very good player, but clarity about his future, staying or going, would help all parties, and then everybody can focus fully on what matters most, which is trying to bring home the 20th title to equal Manchester United's record. Yes. So, you've got media calling it out, fans calling it out. So, I think the club now know that there's no more keeping this in-house, because the narrative's being dragged out and everybody's calling it out right now. So it needs to be resolved. And I get the feeling that everybody, including the players, the club, the agents, want it resolved this month. Now with Trent, which we're going to move on to in a few minutes, it's a slightly different situation here, but one that needs a quicker conclusion to it from regards to what he wants to do. Because I'm baffled at this situation with Trent, but we'll move on to that in a while. Also, on Federico Chiesa, I'm sure you've seen this, but his agent, Fali Ramadan, has come out and spoke about these stories linking him with a move to Italy. And much like we've said on the channel, and much like David Lynch has said many times, it backs up what we've been saying, which is Napoli did not negotiate a contract with Chiesa from Liverpool, and the club has no intention of dispensing with the player. The player is continuing with Liverpool and is seeking the opportunity to participate in the coming period. So again, like we've said, he's not for loan, he's not for sale. The plan is to start introducing him now into the team, and he's going to get those opportunities with the Spurs game coming up, Accrington Stanley coming up. These are games you should expect him to get minutes in. Right, so Spencer, love you Craig. My ideal window is Kirkes and Zubamendi. I'll move on to speak about some of the transfer targets in a minute, my man. Vernon, Trent and Robertson will cost us the title. I do agree that the fullback positions are ones that we need to sort out. Because we had this discussion last night as well about those those positions being the ones that I have a bit of concern about right now. Jamie Carragher's been speaking about particularly the left-back situation as well. And then Harry said, just split Thiago's wage between the three lads. Harry, mate, I agree 100%, but it also infuriates me that that money hasn't been reinvested, because we saved, as we know, 17 or 18 million quid a year, which, as you've said, should absolutely cover the increases for the boys. So, yeah, that's where we are with that one. What I want to move on to next. I don't want to get on to Trent just yet, because I have a few more things I want to go through. But let me read some of your comments, because I don't want to ignore you guys in the chat either. Craig, for me, the no-show or any interviews with Richard Hughes is infuriating, said Fran. Fran, I think you're not on your own there, my man. Journalists that I spoke with today made the same point, that it wouldn't be wrong if Hughes sat down at the table now and started speaking, because the club need to be proactive now. The club need to stop letting these headlines be written and let the voids being filled with negativity, because that's what happens. And we've spoken about this quite a bit. The longer the club stay quiet, the narrative is going to be seized by other people, and the stories are going to be written, and fans are going to get frustrated, and it is just going to become a bigger thing. And you're right, we need to hear from Richard Hughes. We do. And we expected to hear more from Richard Hughes, by the way, up to this point than we have. Max said, solve the contract ASAP, focus on winning the title. 100% agree. Absolutely. Brendan said, Trent is an average player, just overhyped. Connor Bradley is a better option. So, I agree and I disagree. The overhyped thing, yes, I agree. But I don't agree with the calling him an average player. I think the problem Trent has is, I don't know realistically what position he is. I know what position he plays, but he doesn't play it like a right back, does he? And I know I don't fancy him in midfield. So, when it came down to the nitty-gritty of it, I don't disagree at Bradley being a better right back from the context of defending. But with regards to what Trent can do with the ball at his feet, that's where the money comes from. That's where, I guess, the big bucks come from. That and him being a local boy. But, you know, everybody has their own opinions on it, and I can't tell you you're right or wrong, because it is just that, my man. It's a game of opinions. Right, I just seen a new super chat come in that I have to bring up. Let me just say thank you, first and foremost, to Royal Flush. Liverpool are winning the league. I love it. I love it. Keep the positivity coming, my man. Love it. Harry said, who's the best left winger in the league, Gakpo or Diaz? What a great question. And what a great set of answers as well. Both Liverpool players, mate. So, I don't know. I'll let you decide. I can give you a little sneak insight to my preview for the Spurs game. I do have Diaz playing left wing in that. Not because I think Gakpo needs to be dropped or anything, but because Gakpo played the full 90 against United where Diaz was taken off. So, but yeah, it's a good poll. I like the idea of that for the first poll, because it's a nice upbeat poll. So 1 second, I'll get that sorted now. Right. Genuinely intrigued by this one, actually. See how you guys are feeling. So who's the better left winger? Diaz or Gakpo? Now look, let's just start off from the point of view of they're both really good. And we're very lucky to have both. But of course we all would have a preference, right? So, nothing wrong with the question. I will play Bradley at right back and Trent side of Gravenberch in a free role. Well, we'll get on to the Trent stuff in a minute, because, you know, it has to be spoken about because it's such a big topic. There's going to be a recency bias. Yeah, look, Jeremy, I would reckon, mate, if we ask this same question at different points of the season, we're going to get completely different answers. Like you've said, bro, it's you know, it's what do you like at that moment. So, but look, it's a bit of fun, and they're both brilliant. So let's talk about which one's brilliant or. Right, let me get into some more stories. Did we see the cryptic Mohamed Salah post, by the way? Which is basically just himself, Trent and Virgil. Him and Trent standing over the free kick, Virgil in the background, and no caption. He knows what he's doing. I'll give him that one. Let's talk about Stefan Bycetic for a second, actually, while you guys are voting away in that poll. This new bit of reporting suggests that he's likely to stay at Salzburg for the season, despite the interest from Betis. I think the reason being is, obviously they would have had a chat with the new incoming coach there, but also it's not uprooting him again, moving him to another new city, having him to settle into another new set of surroundings, and then maybe losing some game time because of it. So I think continuity is probably the reason why he may stay there for the campaign. And of course, the way that Salzburg set up and the way Red Bull teams play is not a million miles from the way that we tend to play. So just a bit of an update there on that one. Martin Pickering, thank you, bro, for being with us 13 months as a member. Absolutely incredible stuff, Martin. Thank you. I have a third answer. Yes. Yeah, that's the kind of answer I give, mate, when I'm asking these one or the other questions. I always go vague with it. Andre Nielsen said, Bycetic in Salzburg is a mistake. He hasn't gotten any minutes. So I haven't checked in a while now, Andre. But when I did check in, he was getting minutes. But it has been a while. You know, I'll be honest about that. It has been a while since I checked into how many games he's playing or not playing. Where's this Reds or Gobshite come from? Craig leaves Salah alone. Have you not noticed that I've done nothing but big up Mohamed Salah and praise him? So wherever the fuck you're getting this idea in your very dim little minds that I'm going in on Salah, I don't know where you're getting it from, because it couldn't be further from the truth. Look at any content I've made over the last few months, mate, and you'll hear phrases like the great man, the record breaker, the talisman. So yeah, I don't know where you're getting that from, mate, but stop trying to bait me and be better. Corbin said, I hope Marmoush doesn't go to City. Well, that's something I wanted to talk about, actually. So, I don't know if you guys watched my news round update earlier on, but I can say with absolute certainty that Liverpool are open to offers for Darwin. You know, we spoke about the AC Milan stuff in the recent days, and I don't know how sincere that is. But speaking with David today, a couple of other messages exchanged with other people, Liverpool will take an offer, and if the 50 million euro that was mentioned from AC Milan was on the table, that would be something that Liverpool would certainly entertain. Now, the reason I'm tying this into the Omar Marmoush thing is because if you watch the video with David, you'll see David say that if Darwin was to go out, then a move for somebody like Marmoush, who was well thought of at the club, could be entirely possible. But do Manchester City make that play in this window and push it through? Then we have to wait and see what happens. So, Darwin's available. I mentioned it earlier on. I'm standing over that. I'm saying it again out loud to everybody, because I know it's going to upset some people, and some people want to still give them the benefit of the doubt. And again, I can only report to you what I know to be the case. So yeah, let's wait and see if offers are forthcoming for Darwin either in this window or towards the summer. Corbin said, annoys me that we're sell to buy. Again, I don't think I wouldn't say it's a sell to buy thing from a financial perspective with regards to the Darwin situation. I think it's a squad place perspective. And we're carrying 6 strikers at the minute, or 6 forwards at the minute. And we just don't have a squad space for another one. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily just a financial thing there. Although, look, the club would look to utilise the funds from Darwin back into the strengthening, alright, but I don't think it's just because of that. It's just a numbers thing as well. What have we got? The club can do pre-contract with Marmoush for the summer. They should not wait. Man City is doing if they really want Marmoush. See, the problem with that is, let's say, for instance, he got a really, really bad injury that was going to keep him out for a year. Then you're committed to that player, and if it happened, let's say, in April or something, then Liverpool are kind of on the back foot then and the plans go up in smoke. So it's not unheard of. You know, we've seen it before. We've seen it with Naby Keita as an example. So, you know, I'm certainly waiting to see if Liverpool do take some action, if Manchester City push ahead with their interest in Omar Marmoush, because I've been getting a lot of positive signals around Liverpool and Marmoush as somebody who we'd look at if we had a space. Stargirl said, with the United attack going down the right and Trent not playing well, it gave Salah more work. It hurt his game of going forward and creating something. So, under Arne Slot, Mohamed Salah hasn't been asked to do the same amount of defensive work, albeit he still does it. But it was weird listening to the manager's thought processes around Trent after the game yesterday, because I can only assume he was trying to protect him. Because I don't for 1 second buy that excuse of it's just because a midfielder wasn't tucking in alongside him. I don't agree with that, to be honest. So, but it's no accident either that we are conceding a lot of chances from wide areas and our fullbacks just aren't up to the levels that they have been before. You know, Trent yesterday was a real stinker of a game, but I have to say, up until that point, I've not been overly convinced that the whole thing is in his head or has gotten to him. But yesterday, I struggle to believe that that was just a coincidence that he put in that performance. Mark said, Craig, is it true Chicago Bears have come in for Nunez after that block yesterday? Maybe. It was an impressive block that, you know, I only caught last night because I didn't catch it during the game. And I was seeing on Ref Watch, it was like Dermot Gallagher saying no chance of that being a red as an example. Cheers, mate. Love from Malaysia. Thank you very much as well. Mate, you with attitude. Appreciate you. Thank you. Right, so where was I going? This report coming out of Spain is an example of why we can't let the Trent situation fester and continue to go on. So there's a report out of Spain that says Trent Alexander-Arnold has taken his contract to the point Real Madrid asked him to. They told him, you have to do an Mbappe. And this type of stuff is not going to go away. It's only going to get worse and worse. And as I said yesterday, this is at a point now where Liverpool need to give Trent an ultimatum. And I know ultimatums don't sound great, and I know they sound pushy, but ultimately, the contract offer is on the table. It's a good offer. If he's not showing any indication of willingness to sign it, I think we've got our answer. And as like David Lynch said as well, it's going too long now, and Trent has to speak up. He has to say something. There's no world, from what I'm hearing, that he goes in January. The club just are not going to entertain that from everything that I'm hearing from journalists. So I guess it's going to be a tricky situation, because if Trent does want to go to Madrid and he comes out and says it, I'll be an interested observer to see how fans react to that, because it's the right thing to do. It should have been done sooner, in my opinion. He should have been upfront, more honest earlier, like I've said all the way through. But the best way to deal with this situation is to be upfront and honest with the fans, because keeping everybody in suspense and, you know, the time to play one club off against the other and all, that's all gone now. The offers are on the table. It's make your mind up time. And I just can't get away from the fact that I really think he's off, because I don't know why he wouldn't have snapped up and committed his future at this point. So, you know, you look at former players or pundits on TV, everybody expects them to be off as well. I think this just plaster needs to be ripped off and honestly needs to come to the front, because whatever it is, we should be able to be open, honest and deal with it. It'll be interesting though, like if he said, right, I'm going to Madrid in the summer. I've had a great, whatever it is, 20 years at Liverpool Football Club. I want to try something new, blah, blah, blah. Fair enough. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt. We're going to be frustrated. But I think honesty is certainly the way forward in these situations, because fans will then make up their own mind what way to take it. And I would also go as far as to say, if I'm Arne Slot, I'm taking him out of the firing line for a couple of weeks. And now seems like a good time, because we've got the League Cup, then Accrington Stanley, and then it's the following Tuesday, Nottingham Forest away. So it gives Arne Slot and Liverpool a little bit of time to sort this situation, and for fans' feelings around it to ease down a little bit if we get told the truth. So that's I've always said to you guys, I've had this checklist for things that I was willing to give Trent the space to make his decision on. But I think a lot of it's going to come back to the Jurgen Klopp stuff. You know, when Jurgen left, as this post here said from the Daily Express, Jurgen Klopp's sudden departure reportedly rocked Trent Alexander-Arnold to the point he immediately started considering his future at his boyhood club. Klopp was excellent at getting the best out of Trent whilst hiding his weaknesses. Some people will agree with that. Others will think he manipulated the situation to get his contract down to this point. But I'm kind of at the point where I just don't give a damn what the reason is. I just want to know what we're doing. Because if it is the long goodbye and he gets his 6 months of playing for Liverpool and hoping you win a league title and sailing off into the sunset, grand. Let that be the case. But I don't want the February, March, April where he's still keeping his cards close to his chest and not saying that, and that's just unacceptable at this point. Craig, have you heard about the rumours there was a fight in the dressing room after the game between Trent and Nunez? VVD had to separate them. I have, but those things should remain in the dressing room for me. So I'm not going to add to the conjecture about it. But like you guys, I've heard the stories, but I just I think those things stay in the dressing room personally. Did you hear? I've done that already, Jeremy. Stats on Trent as a defender are not good. I know, Colin. And he didn't win a single duel in the game against United, where Bradley came on and I believe won 3. So, you know, I'm all for benching Trent for a while and playing Bradley while Trent gets his head together, or until we know what's going on here, because I'm not buying this bullshit that people are professional and that it doesn't get in their heads. I've said this to you many times. I don't buy it. I've never bought it. I don't think the people that are saying it inside the club are buying it. I think it's just put out there as a way to just buy time in the situation and stop it from getting toxic. But, you know, I've said to you guys for years, my biggest gripe in football is clubs and people speaking to fans like we're idiots. And I felt like we've been treated like idiots with the way we're supposed to believe that this isn't a distraction behind the scenes. It is. Look at Virgil van Dijk's body language towards Trent yesterday. Look at the mistakes Trent made and how Virg reacted to them. Of course it's getting to their heads. Of course it's going to destabilise the club. It just is. And wanting it not to isn't reality. Reality is every goddamn day now is spent talking about it, and it's embarrassing. Tony Hoare said, abuse no, criticism yes. That's my perspective as well, mate. You don't see Anfield Agenda or our accounts abusing any players on social media, and you never will. But I'll call them out as and when I see poor performances on the pitch, like I always do. And that performance yesterday from Trent was unacceptable, is the fairest I can be with it. Adam, thank you, mate, said, where do you think Mo will finish this season on the all-time Premier League goal scoring? I think he'll overtake Cole if he stays fit. I don't know. Mate, I haven't really given it much consideration. I've seen he moved level with Henry for goals scored yesterday, but I don't know. The only concern I have there is I want his contract sorted out because, you know, we want to keep appreciating him and we want him to break more records. And he deserves it as well. Right, I want to talk about Pitaluga for a second because Liverpool have confirmed the exit of the young Brazilian goalkeeper. Liverpool have confirmed Marcelo Pitaluga has left the club to join Fluminense on a permanent basis. The Brazilian rejoins his former club subject to international clearance 4 years after joining Liverpool. He spent time on loan at Macclesfield, St Patrick's Athletic over here in Livingston, but will return. Reports in Brazil suggest the Reds have installed a 40% sell-on clause in the deal, which will guarantee them a chunk of any potential sale in the future. Right, I did say I want to get on to Jamie Carragher because he's been speaking about what he thinks Liverpool need to do in the January transfer window. He said, I still think Liverpool are the best team in the league. They've got more goals in this team and attacking talent and more attacking talent than Arsenal. If you're Arsenal watching that, the thing that will give you a lift is that Liverpool didn't win and you're seeing Liverpool concede goals and chances. People say Arsenal need to sign a goal scorer. Liverpool need to sign a full-back in January, a left-back. Trent was poor today. He was speaking about yesterday. Conor Bradley came in. I think Andy Robertson, absolute legend. Love him to bits, said Carra. But he's hanging on and Costas isn't quite the standard to come and replace him. If Liverpool could get a left-back in January, that would put them in a strong position to go and win the league. Now, one narrative that I haven't liked and I want to talk about is from our own fan base. And that is this narrative of us capitulating this weekend, or us bottling the league this weekend, or us giving Arsenal momentum this weekend. It just isn't true. It isn't true on any level. It isn't true from a factual basis because they didn't gain a goddamn point on us this weekend. They didn't close the gap one bit. And there's one really important thing that I've not seen mentioned too much. So we've just had Arsenal play 2 league games since our last league game. We now play 2 games in the next 2 game weeks before Arsenal play. So we have a chance to strike a blow, put the points on the board and pile the pressure back on. So we take on Nottingham Forest away next Tuesday. Difficult away game, no doubt about that. But then Arsenal have a North London derby the following night. Then we go and play against Brentford in the league. Then Arsenal play on that Saturday at 5:30 against Aston Villa. So if we can get a point on the board, that psychological pressure will definitely kick back on. And again, they haven't gone a month without dropping points. So don't let people like Arsenal fans get in your head. Don't let them wobble you or think that we're going to fall apart. It isn't going to happen. Every time Arsenal get a chance, they shit the bed, like you've seen over and over again. So don't buy into it. Don't let yourself be talked into thinking that we aren't the favourites, that we aren't the best team in the league. Look at the XG for goals. Again, we're ahead of everyone. XG, expected goals conceded. Again, we're better than most teams. We are the best team in this league, and that isn't a coincidence. The reason we're top of the league is because we're the best team in the league. So don't be afraid of saying it, and don't be afraid of backing the team, because Arsenal fans are going to look for any way to give themselves a chink of light or a bit of confidence. There isn't one. Sorry, a couple of comments to get through. Corbin said, I think we need a centre-back. We struggle without Canade. So, we do. I've said this for a while as well. But I just don't think we're going to see one brought in this winter, particularly. With Joe Gomez out now, that's not just us losing a centre-back. That's us losing a potential right-back. That's us losing a potential left-back cover. That's us losing a very influential person for a few weeks. You make up your own mind on where you think Jarell Kwanzaa is, but you're right, mate. We could do with another body there. So Liam, I've already spoken about this, mate, on a couple of occasions during the stream. I've heard about it, but I'm not going to add to it because anything that goes on in a dressing room or doesn't go on in a dressing room should remain in the dressing room. And us talking about it and stuff like that is again only playing into the hands of as opposition fans that are looking for any kind of encouragement, and I don't want to give it to them. USA Copbite, thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Zuman said, I'm nearly at a point where I would rather Trent be honest and tell us he's leaving than carrying this on and saying he's 100% gone. For me, I think there's no other option now. Like, there is no staying quiet about it anymore because it's going to get worse and worse. Like, if you watch the video with David, you'll have heard him say something that resonated with me anyway. And he said for the first time for him going to the game, he heard many audible groans and shouts towards Trent and other colourful language telling him exactly what they thought of him. Now, I've had some match-going fans tell me for a few weeks that they're hearing bits and pieces in certain parts of the cup or whatever, but loads of journalists were talking about it yesterday. It was very audible, it was very clear. And it can't go on. So yeah, he needs to be honest. And if that is, I'm leaving, then so be it. But stringing everybody along and trying to play one club off against the other, it's not cute anymore. It's not. Craig, you're adding to the Salah issue. So here's the thing, Simon. Maybe I am. But I'm also a Liverpool fan channel that's here to report and talk about stories. And again, mate, if it's not your cup of tea, Simon, no problem. Don't tune into the videos if it's not a subject you think you're going to like talking about. But I also look at it a different way, and I hope you understand this. I also feel like it's my duty to pile onto the club here and let them know and speak for a lot of people to say it isn't acceptable. Get your finger out. And I want to try to hold the club to account for what I think has been a shambolic process. And I won't apologise for that, my man. But that's how I feel about it. I think the club are taking the piss, letting it get to this point. And I'm not going to stand by, not speak up, and see our season maybe fall apart in some areas because of it. So, appreciate your side of it. But again, my side of it is that I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I have my own intentions for doing them and my own reasoning. If you like it, brilliant. If it isn't your cup of tea, no problem. Charlie said, do you remember when Slot hooked Kwanzaa for not winning his duels in the first game of the season against Ipswich? Why didn't he treat Trent the same? So, when I was speaking to David about this, actually, because I had the same question about Trent, I think the only rationale that we could come up with for it was that he didn't want to overplay Bradley coming back from the injury, which I know Canade went straight into the team and played, I get it, but it's the only kind of reasoning we can come up with as to why maybe Bradley wasn't brought on earlier. It would have been very interesting if Joe Gomez was on the bench yesterday to see if Joe Gomez would have got the nod, you know, and he would have been brought on a little bit earlier. So I wonder, was it the timing of Bradley coming back in? Because I was surprised to see him even on the bench yesterday, to be honest. Simon said, appreciate the transparency. Hey, mate, I'll always be honest with you. But I understand and appreciate your perspective on it as well, Simon. I really do. Right, so I've got more stuff to get through, so bear with me. So Lewis Steele, again, speaking about the contract situation, he said, everything that I've heard points to the fact that Virgil van Dijk will end up signing a new deal. It's just about getting the paperwork and finding an agreement on the fee, and I think him and Salah, the big thing is length of contract. And that tallies with what I hear as well. A lot of positive vibe around Virgil. Now, I know you don't need to tell me that Virgil said no update, but the one man who I think has played this situation perfectly is Virgil. I think he has been a thorough professional, and I think that the club may want to reward that by making him the first one to get the deal. He hasn't really been doing any talking. He's answered questions very yes or no when asked about anything very quickly. Hasn't let it drag out. Keeps bringing things back to the football. And I've really appreciated that as a fan, to be honest with you. I think he's done a cracking job with a very difficult situation. So, yeah, I think that's the behaviour of a Liverpool captain, and I think Virgil's been top notch. And certainly hasn't impacted him on the pitch, as we've seen. Christine said, Craig, Big Virg is a true professional. Circa. My daughter moans if she's asked to move, do anything. I was only asking you to turn off the heat and coming in here looking like a fucking daffodil.
I was trying to get ready for dinner.
All I was shouting was turn off the heat, and that was all. My daughter's gone around with some weird thing on her head. She looks like a human daffodil. Is the Virgil deal close to being done? I believe so, yes. Is the blunt, short answer to it, mate. I believe so, yes. Was that Irish? What? Her name? Her name is Irish, yes. My daughter's name is Sorcha, spelled Sorcha. It's the Irish for Louise. No, it's the Irish for Sarah, sorry. Sarah. Because her name's Sorcha Louise. So her Irish name is Sorcha. Timmy said, "Hi Craig, can I just say, I have to give you credit for toning it down slightly on Trent issue. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I think it's the right way to go." I just think that the anger from the performance is understandable from everybody, but I think that's been and gone. So it doesn't benefit anybody for me to keep bringing up the performance yesterday from Trent, because I don't need to explain it to everybody. You've seen it with your own eyes. All I've ever wanted in this situation is honesty and transparency as a fan. And I feel like I'm just a little bit more relaxed now about it, because more and more maybe influential people or prominent people around football are starting to say it can't go on. David Lynch saying it can't go on. Other journalists just saying it can't go on. So I'm just kind of relieved we're at that point that people are saying this out loud, because the club would continue to put their fingers in their ears and say everything's great, there's no distraction, everybody's focused. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's always true. And I don't know if David said this on camera or off camera earlier, so I've got to be a little bit careful. But there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in football. There's a lot of distraction. There's a lot of look over here while I'm over here doing something else. So you don't always take what any football club says at face value. You know, looking at yesterday, there's no way that Arne Slot doesn't feel Trent's head was a little bit up his arse. But of course, he's not going to throw his player under the bus. I get that as well. Mark Hardy said, "We were better with Bradley and Costas this season." Look, I just don't rate Costas. I just don't ever think Costas is going to be good enough. He can do a job, but I think we should be looking better longer term. Charlie said, "Any news on Canade's contract?" I've never had anything on that, to be honest with you. Other than other journalists than Romano. If I ever hear me say other journalists, I'm not trying to say I'm a journalist, sorry. I'm trying to say other journalists than the ones I would speak with. Like Romano have been banging on about that being close to being done. I don't know. But he would be the next logical one on the list for Liverpool to look at getting extended, because, you know, he's the next one that's contract to be up. I'm hoping. I was hoping for a Wolves goal in that game. That's what I need for a bet to come up. I need Wolves to just score. Hey Craig, do you think we can just play Bradley and drop Trent as long as Bradley's fit? I think that for the next few weeks, yes. You know, because look at it. It's a League Cup game, then it's an FA Cup game, and then it's Wolves away, or excuse me, Forest away. So we've got 8 days here where I don't want to see Trent involved. Just for his own good and the club's good. Maybe he comes off the bench against Spurs if Bradley can only do 60 or 70 coming back from an injury. But yeah, you should not be betting, man. Come on, you have a kid. Well, firstly, go fuck yourself. Don't ever tell me what to do with my own life. Secondly, my child's 13, and your insinuation that somehow because I stick a tenner bet on a football, and actually, ironically, this was a free bet. Who the fuck do you think you are? I will do whatever I want with my life, with my money, whatever I want. And your insinuation that somehow my kids don't get looked after because I put a tenner football bet on is pretty disgusting, to be honest with you, asshole. So you mind your own fucking business. How about that? And I'll look after my family. They're still going to have their 2 holidays this year, and they're still getting their brand new car, and they'll still have their PS5s, their Xboxes, their MetaQuests, daddy's love and attention, and my kids are just fine, thank you. Mind your own damn fucking business. Do you think we'll buy anyone in January? I don't know, is the honest answer to that one. I don't know. I'm going to go on a limb and say I think we do. But I don't have any proof of it. So, don't hold me to account on that one. But I do, yeah. I get the feeling something will happen this month. It might fall into that category that we don't like talking about, which is opportunistic. And by the way, just to get back to the betting thing again, I would also say that I have turned down a lot of money from betting companies to not promote on the channel. You probably see social media absolutely hammered with betting ads now. I've made a conscious decision not to. I did in the past. When we started, we had a relationship with Boyle Sports. But I listened to feedback from my audience. And I want to try and make as many people happy and as comfortable here as possible. So, yeah. I could rinse this channel and make a lot more money from it. But again, I listen to you guys and your feedback. But when it comes to a personal thing like that, don't ever think you get to tell me what to do. Because it's none of your damn business. Don't ever take my openness as a weakness. You don't get to tell me what to do. Sorry, my mouse is just dying here. I'm just trying to get it back working. Ugh, typical me, what? Typical me. I'm trying to be able to... Because without the mouse, I can't bring the comments up. And for some reason, the mouse is dead. So, bear with me for a couple of minutes because I'm going to have to just call out super chats for a minute or two. Rob Dan said, don't react to any idiots. They don't deserve the attention. I know, but, I'm open on the channel, mate. You know that I talk about my life. But, Jesus, to somebody to tell you don't put a bet on because you've got kids, I mean, fuck off. Honestly, it's just nonsense. Right, so, some more stuff. Let's go into some more comments while this charges up for a minute and I try to get some battery life back. Have a score on Trent to stay. I wouldn't waste my money. Oh, you have it on. Sorry. Do you mind me asking what odds you got on that, actually? Because that is an interesting one. Trent to stay. I wouldn't be putting my money on it, to be honest with you. I wouldn't. Spurs sack Nuno, now they want him back. Third place, Forest. Who would have thought? Do you know what? Fair play to Forest. But, will they last the season? Can they keep it up? I really don't know. I'm going to say no. I don't think they can. But, you know what? They deserve every bit of credit for being where they are now. Sorry. Again, I can't bring up super chats for the minute, so bear with me. Craig, what's the VVD news? So, the VVD news is that it's almost certain that he stays. I would expect something in the next... I expect the answers on all three of these for the fans by the end of the month. And that's certainly been what I'm getting from journalists as well and other people, that this isn't going to be let drag on much longer because it is now becoming a distraction. Any updates on the Federico loan rumour? Yes, mentioned that one a moment ago. His agent, Federico Chiesa's agent, has come out and said that there's been no contract, talk or offer with Napoli. That the plan is to stay with Liverpool and get minutes and try to force himself into the first team again. And you would imagine you get those opportunities between Spurs, Accrington, Stanley, and the fact that now he is fit and training fully. So, yeah, it just backs up basically what we thought was the case. I never understood why all these clubs in Italy that could have had Chiesa only all of a sudden had interest in him when we had him. It doesn't make any sense, does it? all of them could have bought him for the same fee and chose not to. So it was a bit of a weird one for me to see them talking about wanting them on loan or buying them in, and they could have done it. They didn't. Always you speak your mind. Love from Romania. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm always going to speak my mind because I don't see why I wouldn't. Like, if I've something to say, I'll say it. If I don't, I won't. But, you know, I'll always be as bluntly honest as I can be. You shouldn't be spending on betting. You should be spending it on broccoli. That's probably more sinister. You know, broccoli's evil. I keep saying it to you. Broccoli is evil. You know, don't be getting sucked into that broccoli life. So it's downhill. Once you start eating that broccoli, it's all downhill from there. Right, hopefully this starts working now. Oh, here we go, folks. We've got a little bit of battery life. Look at this. So I can bring these up on screen really quickly. Again, thank you, Rob Dance. Thank you as well to our friend from Romania. Thank you, bro. Luxury now. I've actually got a mouse that works. What's this one? Arne Slot says Ibu will probably not play against Spurs. If you've been out for such a long time, it's difficult to immediately then play 2 games in a week. So must not come as a surprise if he doesn't play on Wednesday. But he played today. Ouch. I hope that he does play, because the upside of that is if Kwanzaa comes in and has a good game, brilliant. But if Kwanzaa is shaky, again, I'd be concerned about damaging the lad's confidence even further. And there isn't really any other options there unless you're looking at Nalo or somebody like that to come in. So Lewis Steele spoke a little bit about Mohamed Salah as well, and he said, on Salah saying his deal is far away, I've heard contrasting things to this. One guy told me they were closing in on a deal, and another guy said they're miles away, so it's probably somewhere in the middle. Look, there isn't going to be a situation where Salah and Virgil don't stay. I just don't see it not ending up that way, because ultimately it's what everybody wants. And I'm hoping that it is down to a length of contract thing. I'd really love if that was the sticking point here, because I don't understand why Liverpool wouldn't just give the extra year if that was the sticking point, because you still have an opportunity there to sell if needs be, which of course we don't want to happen. Going to keep charging that mouse up there for a little bit. Tough next 2 Premier League games. Yes, Hoarder, it is. Away at Forest is going to be difficult. There's no two ways about that. It's going to be a tough game. And it's definitely going to be a game that Arsenal fans are looking at praying we drop points in. But my hope for that game is that we want revenge for Forest beating us at Anfield. And also, we should have a well-rested team. Although we should have had a well-rested team against United, and that didn't pan out too well for us. So, yeah, maybe my thinking there was flawed. But on the face of it, Spurs, Accrington Stanley, and then the Forest game, you would think that Arne Slot can put a good bit of the focus from the first team lads into being ready for that Forest game. And if we beat Forest, I think again that's just going to put another underlining of our title credentials. But it is weird. I said this to Connor earlier on. It feels very strange that we're looking at the Premier League and we're nervous about Forest away. And look, deservedly, because Forest deserved their plaudits. But you know, any other season you'd be looking at Forest away and thinking, well, that's 3 points. Looking forward to that. That should be straightforward enough. It's also a night game as well, which is going to be interesting. Oren said, I think that Trent's head is now Madrid, but I also think his head will turn around and he'll realise that Anfield's the place to be. I wish I had that optimism, but I'm very much somebody that thinks you know your own mind, and if the doubts start to creep in, and if they started to creep in as has been reported after Jurgen left, I just don't see him suddenly having a change of heart to stay. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it. At this point, for me, all signs point to Trent going, but again, I hope I'm wrong. With Mo, I think the length of contract that matters for him, not the money. He wants to break records. Look, again, I don't know what the length of contract offer has been or what he wants. But me as a fan, I think the ideal number for me is a 2-year contract extension. So this season and 2 more. And then an option of a third one that the club can trigger if they want to. Now, again, that's just me being a fan and giving my absolutely ideal outcome of it. And I would be the same for Virgil. But if the difference between keeping them or losing them was an extra year, I think it would be less of a difficult decision with Virgil, who doesn't rely on a lot of attributes that aging will probably hinder him with. I think the potential for a drop-off there comes more with Mohamed Salah in the future. If you're going to that extra third year, I can understand maybe a little bit of concern around that, but you can only play the cards that you're seeing, and Mohamed Salah has been impeccable this season. And the numbers speak for themselves there, and nobody can tell you what Mo does in 2 years. He can't tell you, I can't tell you, no data that the club have can tell you. It's all a leap of faith to some extent. You can look at, his history, him now, maybe you can make some type of projections, but ultimately, I think the reason we're seeing the best of Mo this season for me is that his fitness has been managed better. He hasn't had as many international games. He didn't have a summer tournament. He's got a rest. And I hope that this leads us as a club to say we can't just keep playing him every single week, particularly over the next few years. If it's a 70-game season and you get 45 games out of Mo, that's brilliant. That's what I'd like to see him manage to try and keep that longevity. Realistically, do you reckon Trent would enjoy it at Real? Tough one to answer. Yeah, I really don't know. It's difficult because I don't know Trent as a fella. So I don't know what drives him, what makes him happy. I don't know if he looks at being at Liverpool maybe and feel like he's under a microscope because it's the city he grew up in, it's his local city. Maybe if he feels moving away from the glare of the British media, and I don't know, just being able to pop out or go for a walk or whatever. I really don't know, but I hope he knows that it's not going to be all sunshine and skittles over there, because when he makes a mistake or when he has a poor game and when Carvajal's back, they're not shy about telling you that you're shit or not good enough, or they want you dropped, or they want somebody else signed. And you know what I haven't done, and I'd like your help on this actually. I don't follow Madrid fans on anything. I don't pay attention to them. What's the Madrid fan base speaking about with this one? Because I remember when Bellingham was initially being linked to Real Madrid, and I was looking at what Madrid fans had to say then, and they were saying they didn't want them. They didn't need them. They had other priorities, other positions. So I'd be very interested to know what they think about Trent, and whether there really is a desire and a want there for Madrid fans to get him in. David, how are you, bro? Said, regardless of what happens, the Trent situation has been handled horribly. Yes, absolutely agree with you on that one. All of them, all the contract situations have been handled horribly to me. Interesting this one. So I asked you who was the better left winger, and 65% of you guys have said Gakpo. Is it weird that I'd be in the 35% that said Diaz? But I guess it can also depend on who you're playing. But they're both brilliant, so, either way, they're both Liverpool players, so it's win-win for us, right? And I love that competition, by the way, between them. Tony Hoare said, Real fans are brutal. One bad game, they'll let him know. Pops Limbu said, Trent's gone. Charlie Bates said, If he goes, I think he'll have a big shock. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Did I watch the EAFC 25 Team of the Year? No. No interest in anything computer or game based. It's not my cup of tea. Trent will get roasted by Marca, said Martin Aston. Needs resolving sooner rather than later, said Emma. It's dragging out now. Trent would like to keep it quiet, but that ship has sailed after Real outed him. So there was a bit of a debate between Carra and Gary Neville on whether Trent's camp knew that the Madrid offer was going to come in. So what do you guys think about that? Because Carra's absolutely certain that he would have gotten encouragement from Trent's side, and Trent's side would have known that Madrid were about to make an offer, and Neville thinks to the contrary. He thinks they don't. Or wouldn't. Anything new on Nunez? Any clubs interested? The only semi-interest I've seen was the AC Milan stuff. But again, what I can tell you from what I said earlier on is that Liverpool are open to selling him, even if it's in January, if the right offer comes in. I got the phrase, one of the phrases said to me was, bite your hand off, for a fee of about 50 million or so. I don't get why he'd want to leave. Makes no sense. Would ruin his career. We all assume that, but you know, what if it worked? What if he went out there and fit in to Real Madrid and did win some trophies? I still think, even in the best case scenario for Trent and Real Madrid, that it won't be what he thinks, and in later in life, I think he won't look back on it as positively as maybe he's thinking about it now. But I would say that I'm a Liverpool fan. Right, so definitely they knew, said DCF 102. I don't get why he'd want to leave, makes no sense. 100% yes, said Badruddin. Yes, they knew. Look at Mo's tweet. Which one? The one about... I'm not on Twitter, so you're going to have to help me out here. I've seen the post with Mo that's just him, Virgil and Trent in an image with no caption, if that's the one you're on about. Octavian said Real Madrid fans don't want him, but if this makes us suffer, the better. Colin said Craig's and Madrid fans are going to eat Trent. Why Madrid need Trent? Not making sense. It makes loads of sense, mate. They've no right back at the minute. Carvajal's out with an ACL or whatever it is. They've got no right back, so they need a right back, and Trent's potentially available at the end of the season for free. That's right up Real Madrid's avenue. It's what they did with Mbappe and some other players. Okay, 1 second. Apparently Graham Potter's been offered the West Ham job, according to some reports. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to just have a look at this post. Right, so I'm starting to think you're obsessed with me. I think the other two, Mohamed Salah and Trent, could take a leaf out of Virgil's book. Carra reacts to the cryptic social media posts from Virgil van Dijk. Yeah, to be fair, Carra has been rather opinionated on Mohamed Salah's situation, and certainly feels like he doesn't think Mo's been doing the right thing. And he points to Virgil van Dijk. You know, Carra's in the opinions business. He's entitled to have his. You're entitled to have yours. I'm entitled to have mine. And I don't think any 10 people would deal with the situation the same. They'd all have a different viewpoint on it. And they might have different motivations for why they want to speak out. Mohamed Salah could be in a point where he's desperate to stay at Liverpool, and maybe he's getting worried, or maybe Virgil feels more relaxed about it. I don't know, but I wouldn't be overly annoyed at any of them. The one that annoys me the most is Trent saying nothing, which I know other people think is a professional thing to do. So again, as I said, it's opinions. Would you rather have Trent or Hakimi? Again, I've got to be careful about what I say here, but I don't want Hakimi anywhere near the football club. That's all I'm going to say. So Trent. 3-0 Forest. Couldn't score 1 goal, Wolves. Now missing fucking sitters from 2 yards out, ruining the L accumulator. Potter to West Ham will be a good appointment. I never got the Julian Lopetegui appointment. Never. I don't get the appeal of Lopetegui as a coach. Full stop. I really did not understand that appointment one bit from West Ham. It was ridiculous, in my opinion. Honestly, think Trent will be another Coutinho in terms of where his career goes if he moves, said You're Networking. Thank you, mate. Appreciate your input and your super chat. Thank you. I'm glad Salah is speaking up, said Aaron. I think the club should be called out on it, is my opinion of it. But look, here's what I will say. Regardless of any of the individual 3 situations, the club have made an absolute mess of this in a PR perspective. And it's been a failure from the higher ups. Because like I've said, Hughes didn't cause the issue. He inherited it. But he's had time to resolve it. And he hasn't done it. And it was the first thing in his inbox. And it was the thing everybody said was the first thing he had to resolve. And he hasn't done one of them. So somebody here needs to take some goddamn responsibility and fess up to this shit. Or say you're not up to the job and depart. Because you had fuck all to do in the window. Signed Mamardashvili, who would have ran to Liverpool, and Chiesa on a bargain. And outside of that, we did nothing. So I'm finding it really hard to make any excuses for Richard Hughes at this point, who has been invisible in front of camera or notable from his absence. It's just not good enough. It's his job. 7 months is bullshit to not sort one contract. Have you seen the latest 442 video of Trent? I haven't seen it yet, no, but I will certainly have a look. Love the work of 442, so we'll definitely take a look at it. I want to just fly through my notes real quick to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. So, where are we going? Tchouaméni, let's talk about him for a second. Now, this comes from Ficajes, who, as far as we believe, they have residency here. Nope, not that one. This one. Nope, not that one. This one. There you go. For me, they are, residents. They have an embassy, in my opinion, here when it comes to any stories about Liverpool. So I don't believe this, but it says breaking rumour. Now, how the fuck do you have a breaking rumour? Can somebody explain that one to me? How do you have a breaking rumour? It's a rumour. A story breaks, but you don't have a breaking rumour. That's just you looking to make something up and, I don't know, get some traction with it. But anyway, it says breaking rumour. Liverpool have tabled a €50 million offer for Aurélien Tchouaméni, a 35 million initial payment with an additional €15 million next season. And that's from Ficajes, who, as I said, to the best of my recollection, I can't remember them getting one thing right with Liverpool. So I put absolutely zero belief in that story. Zero. If I could go minus, I'd probably go into the minus territory, but yeah, breaking rumour. I know, it's breaking rumour. I mean, anything just to get a click, right? Breaking rumour. I'd love to try that on the channel, put a big thumbnail. Breaking rumour. Isak's coming, isn't he? I very much doubt it. Not if Newcastle's 150 million valuation is being sincere. I mean, that's a lot of dough for Isak. Craig, look at Ryan's post, so sad. Again, I'm not on any of these social media accounts, Dave, so I've no idea what's happening. Oh, are we talking about somebody in our chat here? Sorry. Let me scroll up. Oh, I know about. Sorry, Dave. I've been in contact with Ryan via email, mate. Ryan let me know the sad news, and we've been in contact. So yeah, look, I don't want to drag these things into public domain or anything. I know Ryan's in the chat, but as you said, Dave, it's incredibly sad, and I don't really have anything else I can say to it. Ryan was kind enough to send us on a lovely little photo when his son was born, and then to get obviously the tragic news is it's heartbreaking for Ryan and his wife, and of course our thoughts and our love is with them. I can't imagine it. My own mum had a lot of miscarriages before she had me. I'm an only child, and she was told she could never have children, so I was kind of, I won't say it was a miracle, but it was a bit of luck they weren't expecting. I'm getting married on December 31st, 2025. What's the best way to send you an invite? It will be a link. Contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. Carl, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. And of course, I will try my best to get over it. New Year's Eve, though, you mad fucker. You're just not like money, is it, Carl? You want to just find the most expensive day possible. But yeah, look, love to pop along and say hello and wish yourself and Julie the best. Yeah, we've gone through Salah's tweet, Noah. It's a nothing tweet. It's just him saying, I think you're obsessed with me, haha. It's not really anything. I must say, Craig, I've always felt there's a certain arrogance or silence to Liverpool's transfer business. In recent years has been justified. Hughes has big shoes to fill. Yeah, look, as much as being a fan, I want to know as much as I can about Liverpool's activity in the transfer market. I'm definitely somebody who appreciates not knowing anything as well, as long as it leads to something. The best transfers for me have been the ones that came out of the blue. Fabinho on a plane with his missus out of nowhere, or Virgil under the Christmas tree. Yeah, I love it, but when it ends up in nothing, you just feel even more frustrated then. So I do agree with you though. Charlie said sending love to Ryan and his family. Much love, Charlie. Craig, would you rather sign 2 players to get all the contracts sorted this month? I would rather have the contract sorted, but it should not be a one or the other. And that's actually, thank you for bringing that up, because it's another point I wanted to raise tonight, is we can't let this be the January. It's not acceptable to think you get to bluff through January doing nothing and maybe getting a contract or 2 sorted. January should be about adding in the few players we really need, which is that midfielder still for me. And, you can make a very good argument for a fullback as well. So, yeah, can't just sit in our hands and think we'll get these contracts sorted and then all the Liverpool fans will just go away and FSG can sail off into the sunset with their money tucked in their pockets. Nope. Have I seen Salah's tweet? Yeah, it's a nothing tweet. I don't understand the big furore over it. He basically just said, I think you're obsessed with me, ha. It's nothing. Whale Galley said, "What do you think we're much better than last year, or other teams just fell off? Numbers are similar for the first 18 games." I think it's more the second. I think it's more that other teams have fallen off. We've shown a good consistency this season, and as you said, the numbers aren't a million miles away from what they were. But I did not expect this fall off for Manchester City. I just didn't. Arsenal are, I don't want to go down. I seem to be annoying a lot of Arsenal fans a lot lately by calling them perennial bottlers, but I just don't ever look at them as a real threat for a league title. I don't. So yeah, I think it's probably the latter. Yeah, I think the others have dropped away a bit, and we've just maintained our own steady form from the first half of last season as well. But it'll be important to maintain it for the second half of this season, and this is where getting that midfielder comes into the equation for me. Carragher responded with, "I've always been obsessed with you, Mo. Hopefully that obsession will continue next season." So there you go. Carl said, "Just sent you a link. Hope you can come. Love you." Thank you, Carl. I will honestly try my best to get over, Carl. I promise you. I'll never forget when we did our first meet-up, Carl, and I got to the venue, and we weren't doing a show around. We were just doing a meet-up for the last game of the season, and we were in Liverpool, and I got to the venue, and it was at the Beer Keller in Liverpool, and I got there, and the first thing I got greeted with was one of the staff saying to me, "A gentleman called Carl, who can't be here today, put some money behind the bar to buy a round of drinks for everybody." And that meant a lot to me then, Carl, and it means a lot to me still now. And it's reasons like that why we stay in touch, mate, because you are a class act. So if I can get over, even with it being New Year's, you lunatic, I will try my best to get over. Tammy said, "You're right, Craig. We all want a brilliant start to 2025. Get the contracts done and dust and start winning trophies." Yes. So how seriously do you guys want to take the League Cup now? Like, how strong are you expecting Arne Slot to go on Wednesday against Spurs? Because I think we should go strong, because we have Accrington Stanley at the weekend. So, a lot of the fringe players can play in that game. I want to make sure that we don't have a mountain to climb in the second leg, because this is Spurs season, basically. Ange spoke about usually winning a trophy in the second season, semi-final of a cup, Spurs desperate to get some silverware. I think we've got to go fairly strong for me. Craig, I've heard that with Salah's contract is down to image rights. I've seen a few people say that, but I don't know, to be honest. And look, if it's getting down to image rights, then that's a good sign, because if you're into the nitty gritty of stuff, that's a positive sign. Strong, I want to win all four, said Alan. Full strength, said Phoenix. Strong versus Spurs, said Craig Simpson. Go and win the League Cup. Great momentum for the season if we win it. Mo Salah 11 said strong. All the way, said Keith Dunn. We go hard, said David. Definitely strong, said Badruddin. Thoughts on Nottingham Forest? Look, if anyone said they're not impressed with Forest this season, they'd be a liar. But I don't think they'll last in the Champions League places. But again, it doesn't really matter, because any type of European football for Forest would be an unbelievable achievement. I think a lot of our players have stepped up since last season, like Gravenberch, Jones and Gakpo. See, on Jones, right, I'm going to ask a question. Because, I'm going to ask a question. So the question is Curtis Jones good enough to start regularly? Because I get frustrated watching Curtis Jones. Because one week you watch him and he's brilliant. And you're thinking, oh my God, this lad has it all. And then another week you watch him and you're thinking, where's the lad from last week gone? So, I'm honestly, I don't know. I can't make up my mind. One week I want to pull my hair out if I had any, and I want to punch the wall about him. Another week I'm singing his praises and saying, oh my God, where did that? He's so good. Carl said, stupid question, but you seem down. Are you okay? Very perceptive. Am I okay? Not really, mate, no. But, you know, it is what it is. Life goes on. I've been sick for a while, and it's not, I'm really, it's annoying me that it's not going away, but I'm not alone in that. I know a lot of people are carrying colds and stuff. I'm absolutely mentally drained. I've had 2 days off in 2 months. And there's some other stuff that I don't feel comfortable talking about publicly regarding a few other bits and bobs, but I'm alright, man. I'll be alright. Nothing major going on, and that's okay, but I'm just a bit worn out, I think. You know when you've got a cough and a cold and it drains you. And I'm also having to manage my breathing a little bit during streams because I've got a load of mucus and phlegm and I want to cough a lot and stuff. So yeah, that and a headache, but I'm alright. Curtis holds up the ball or holds onto the ball too much, says Wild Gali. Jones slows up the play, said Robert Driscoll. I actually remember you. Nope, that was somebody else. I really like Curtis. Think he's super talented. Not perfect, but still improving. It doesn't deserve all the abuse, said Ash. Lack of consistency lets him down. He holds the ball for too long and slows down play, said Pro. Jeremy said we'll be here till you're rested. That's great. You know, my man, I appreciate that. But ultimately, you know, the bills still have to be paid. And I gotta work. I'm so scared of ever becoming as poor as I've been in the past that and my head's zoned in and I'm focused and I'm working and you know, look, I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong, I'm just answering the question that I was asked. I'm just a little bit tired at the minute, that's all. There's nothing wrong, really, I'm just a little bit tired and sick. What have we got now? Jones is only on 15k a week. I think he's been given a better contract since that now. But, I mean, what he's on wage-wise, I don't know if that should really matter either, because we're just talking about the calibre of the footballer. So, you know, it's an honest question because I'm so torn on him. Sometimes I think I've been way too hard on him. Then other times, like for instance, last week, after the West Ham game and I was doing my Manchester United preview and I did know Dominic Szoboszlai was ill at this point, but I was still putting Jones in the team because I thought he played so well against West Ham that I was thinking, how could you not play a fella that's, you know, playing so well? And then he goes and plays against United and he looks like he's running through toffee. He just doesn't look the same player as he was the week before. And that, I guess, is the point of the question. Appreciate you, Carl. Thank you. It's all right, mate. I'm going to see... I haven't seen my psychologist in 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm going to see him tomorrow. Actually, and on that, I should point out, I won't be doing a live stream tomorrow. There will be a preview video and a couple of news videos tomorrow. But I'm going down to see my psychologist. So I'm going to spend that time working things through because I need it. So just on that one, no stream tomorrow night. Mark, it's okay not to be okay. I know, my man, but look, as I said, I'm fortunate. I've got a support network, and I've got a psychologist that I see regularly. It's just with the Christmas time and that, I haven't really had a chance to see him, and it's not a great time of the year for me. You know, my dad died around Christmas time. Not this last Christmas, but that time of the year. My mother was in a coma and took an overdose that time of the year. My grandmother died. My uncle had an accident and died. I was in a car crash and wrote my car off. All these things are around this time of the year, and it just weighs heavy on me for a few weeks around this time of the year. Jones is hit and miss. He can play a blinder of a game, and then he can be like Trent was yesterday. Craig, is there any rumours behind us monitoring Kvaratskhelia? I'd seen that same story today. Not unless somebody leaves. I can't see. No, I know. I would say I'd err on the side of no, personally. Where was the crash? Glen of the Downs, Wayne. You know, my parents had separated, and my mum had moved down to Wexford at the time, so I was bringing down the Christmas presents from Dublin down to where my mum was living, and it was sleety and snowy, and we went down the bank and hit a tree and stuff. So yeah, it was.
And you tried to kill me.
Are you finished now?
Yeah.
Thanks. Dark nights don't help at this time of the year. Absolutely. This is why I keep, saying I love a bit of warm weather in the winter. Need a little bit of sunlight. Need a little bit of those sunshine rays to keep me upbeat. Right, let's check in on the poll. Is Curtis Jones good enough to start regularly is the question. And I'm going to leave it up. We need to get to 1,000 votes, so keep on voting. Thoughts on the Douglas Luiz story? I haven't seen it. Heavy Metal D. To be honest with you, bro, I haven't seen it. So, yeah, I don't know what it is. But Douglas Luiz was one that we were linked with a couple of years ago. Before he renewed his contract at Villa. And, of course, before he moved on to Juventus. So Aaron, the Everton away game, to the best of my memory, February 11th. Yeah, so it's the week, Aaron, of the playoff round in the Champions League, and I'm almost certain it's February the 11th that we're penciled in to play that Everton game. What's my favourite bean brand? I don't know. I like Heinz and Bachelors, so either one. How's the dog? He's good. He's a little coward when it's cold, though. He barks to get outside, and then you open the back door and the cold air comes in and he just reverses very quickly. And all of a sudden doesn't have that same desire to go outside. Joe said, I'm hearing a similar boat with you, Craig, this time of the year, but for them we carry on. Honestly, that was only tip of the iceberg stuff, Joe. If I went into the detail of other stuff around Christmas and this time of the year, mate, I'd just depress you all. So, yeah, I like to stay busy and just keep ploughing through. Liverpool confirmed permanent transfer. Yes, we spoke about that. I'll read that out to you now. Liverpool confirm that goalkeeper Marcelo Pitaluga has left the club to join Fluminense on a permanent basis. The Brazilian rejoins his former club subject to international clearance, and Liverpool have a 40% sell-on should they cash in on him at any point. Craig, my local authorities make me have a care assessment for 12 weeks and won't let the carers take me to Anfield during this time. Well, I don't understand that process, my friend, and it's a very difficult and distressing and confusing situation, but it really is unfair of me to speak about it, mate, when I don't know any of the circumstances, and I'm certainly not qualified to speak about it. But all I will say to you is I hope that you're okay, and hang in there, bro. Hang in there. I know when you're not right, we've had our differences, but I've always had your back and always will. I'll never say nothing negative. Sabrina's an angel putting up with you. Yeah, you're right on that one. You're right on that one, mate. Definitely she is. Favourite crisp flavour? Cheese and onion. And actually on that, I sent a little care package over to Danny earlier on. Danny said in our Discord last night that, maybe it was the day before, that he's never tried Tayto. Proper Tayto, not them Northern Irish Tayto, the real ones. So we went and got Danny a little care box and sent him a bag of Chios, a bag of O'Donnell's, a bag of Tayto, a bag of Hunky Dories, a bag of Banshee Bones, and a bag of Mighty Munch. And they're on their way over to Liverpool from, so we can taste the proper good Irish crisps. Because, you know, I always feel for you poor folks in the UK having to make do with those subpar crisps that you have over there. So we're always, you know, here to help out where possible. And I'm very proud of Ireland and crisps, as you can probably tell. Barry Rice, look after yourself, pal. Take time off if you need it. We'll be here when you're ready. Thank you. And as I said, I'm going to take live streaming off tomorrow, and hopefully that'll give me a bit of a breather. But yeah, I do appreciate it. Just wanted to make you laugh. You did that by telling me you were getting married on New Year's Eve, you lunatic. But yeah, hopefully get over, as I said, Carl, and say hello. Irish love their potatoes. We do, and you've got you've got Ireland to thank for flavoured crisps, by the way. Tayto were the first ones to add flavouring to crisps, and you know, I take my crisps very seriously as an Irishman. So yes, you're right. We're very proud of our potatoes and our crisps, and I would gladly be an ambassador for Irish crisps around the world, because there's nothing better than a bag of cheese and onion. And how many of my Irish brothers and sisters in the chat here remember one of your first kiss? And I'm sure the bang of cheese and onion, whether it was at an underage disco when you were younger or whatever it was, cheese and onion play a big part of our lives here in Ireland. It's very cringy at times, and it's a bit of a joke, but we do love our fucking crisps. Carl, thank you, bro. Mark Faulkner said Taytos. No, I'm Chios all the way. Chios all the way for me. They're the best ones for me. Chios, then King or Tayto. I don't mind. They're both deadly. But Chios are the top. Be honest, who else is going to check here tomorrow at 8:45? I promise you, Dave, unless there's an actual story of massive significance, I'm taking tomorrow off, because I'm absolutely mentally exhausted, and I'm with my psychologist tomorrow evening as well. So yeah, it's almost certain I'm not doing anything tomorrow other than videos. The preview's coming out at 10:30 in the morning. Then there'll be a news video in the afternoon, and then I'll put out another news video after the Arsenal-Newcastle game. So look, I'm going to go and record the recap and some other little bits of news that we haven't had a chance to speak about on the stream. But thank you for joining us tonight as well. For those coming in late who wanted the recap, just give me a few minutes. That video will be uploaded, and it'll be in a nice condensed 8-minute form for you, so you don't have to sift through a long stream. And thank you for coming in and joining me tonight. One favour, we need to get to 1,000 likes. So if you can, we're 175 away. Hit that like button for me on your way out the door. And again, thank you to everyone that joined us tonight. You're absolutely amazing. Love each and every one of you. And we'll talk to you in a bit. Yeah, the poll result. Sorry, I got to get the poll result. Yep. So, 61% of people felt that Curtis Jones isn't good enough to start regularly. So 39% of people said yes, and 61% of people said no. They didn't think he was good enough to start regularly. I'm on the fence. I don't know. Some weeks I do, some weeks I don't. He certainly has the talent. That much I'll say for sure. So right, I'll see you guys for the game on Wednesday. But tomorrow, news videos coming out. And do drop a like for me before you head off. And I'll talk to you soon.